Welcome to Two Geeks and a Microphone, Classic Sci Fi. The Internet, the final frontier. These are the recordings of Two Geeks and a Microphone. Its mission to explore strange movies and TV shows, to seek interesting classic sci-fi films and TV series, to boldly go where no geek has gone before.
I shall leave you as you left me, as you left her, marooned for all eternity in the center of a dead planet. Buried alive, buried alive.
And there you have it, our Two Geeks Geekdom friends and family. Thank you so much for our Ko-fi supporters. Yes, Classic Sci-Fi. Next episode is Star Trek II, The Wrath of God.
You've been waiting to do that, haven't you?
Oh, that was good. I love it. So, yeah. Oh, man, Mike, thanks for your hard work on that. That was great.
Thanks.
Love
That was
the
fun to
intros
make.
and stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, hey, to our very special Ko-fi friends and supporters, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being supporters. This is part of our Classic Sci-Fi series. If you are at the supporter tier, you get the audio. If you are at the team tier, you actually get the video as well of us yik-yakking and talking. So thanks so much for joining us. Okay. Classic Sci-Fi, we are talking about Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And if you remember in a previous podcast, we talked about, we should do that one, and so here we are doing that. We've got a huge list of classic sci-fi movies, but this one is, Mike has stated, you have stated, this is your favorite, or let me rephrase that. Do you think this is the best,
Of
the best one out?
original-
Okay,
of
of the
the
original.
cast. Yeah.
Of those
I
movies.
tend to lean more to Next Generation as far as Star Trek goes.
Yep, same here.
And every now and then I like some of the original stuff, but I was never a huge fan of it, Heck, I remember as a kid, I always wanted Star Wars action figures for Christmas. So that's still happening today, and I'm 51. But I remember as a kid, my aunt from Michigan, she sent me a Christmas present, and I was pretty excited. I opened it up. It was a Mego Spock doll. And I was so disappointed when I opened it. I was like, this is not Star Wars. My aunt does not know what Star Wars is. Star Trek. So, the funny thing is nowadays I wished I would have kept that Spock, because Migos they're pretty valuable nowadays. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I have no idea where that Spock went to, but
Right?
probably in a garage sale, most likely.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there's my Star Trek Christmas story.
Right on. Love it. I had a very similar experience where I years ago I was a big Star Wars fan, a lot of people know that. So, but for one Christmas, my father-in-law got me the whole complete VHS set of Star Trek.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened to that. I think I sold those in a garage sale.
Did you ever watch them?
I did. And actually, in all openness, that got me to enjoy the series because I realized how different it was
Oh,
than
that's
Star
good.
Wars.
That's
It
good.
did. But my favorite out of them all, I'll agree with you, is this movie that we're talking about today, Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. Loved it.
I believe Wrath of Khan is definitely the best of the original
Yes.
movies. Yes.
Yeah, it is good. So, hey, everybody, we've got some fun tidbits, some fun information, just some background stuff about the film. We assume that you've already seen the film, but if we were to give a brief synopsis, I was going to bring this up and kind of do here, let me just read what the synopsis is. We'll just tell you because we both watched it. We watched, Mike Ashley did it first, and then I did because he did it, was to watch Space Seed. I think it was in season 1, episode
Ooh,
27, maybe 14 or 27. I can't remember now.
yeah,
But
I don't remember now.
it's Space Seed. And that's where we first get the introduction to Khan as a character with the one and only Ricardo Montalban. And then we watched
Mr. Rourke.
Mr. Rourke. To play. Yes, Mr. Rourke.
Look, boss. The starship. Man, I used to watch Fantasy Island every
I love
Friday.
Fantasy Island.
I did too. I thought it was fantastic.
Except I remember one night my parents sent me to bed because I don't think they liked the content of what it was, so I had to go to bed. So my brother Scott and I were sitting there in our twin beds listening to all that was going on, and we're like, "Ooh, it sounds like it was a scary episode."
I know they had some scary ones, but I'm wondering if it was more on a sexual level, maybe.
I couldn't tell you because I never saw it.
No, yeah. You probably saw it eventually. You just didn't know which one it was.
Right.
I think I watched every episode. I think I watched them all when they were first run, and then I watched them years later in syndication.
Really?
Yeah, I was a pretty big fan of Fantasy Island. Don't ask me why.
Well, I thought Ricardo Montalban was great in Space Seed, and I thought he was even more so. I thought he was just absolutely fabulous as the villain Khan in the movie.
I did too. Now, I did laugh at his. I don't. It's some kind of martial arts that he's practicing in Space Seed. I don't know. It just looked a little goofy, but
yes,
it was
agreed.
The 60s, and
it was the 60s.
Yeah. So
yeah,
oh well.
Agreed. So in Space Seed, what happens is the Enterprise comes across this drifting in space, this cargo ship, and called the Botany Bay.
And it was from the 90s.
The 1990s. The 1990s.
That just blew my mind when they said that. I was like, oh my gosh.
We didn't have that capability in the 90s. I don't think we have it in the 2020s.
No, not quite. No. I mean, we have the International Space Station, but yeah, it's not quite like that.
Right. And so they come across it. There's all these people who are cryogenically frozen in space and what have you. And they open up one. The system wants to open up one. They try to do it, and looks like he's going to have trouble. Kirk, comes to the rescue, breaks the glass, opens up the thing. They get him and they take him over to the ship. They beam him over.
Kirk, as always.
Kirk being Kirk as always in the 1960s first season.
I'll save him.
Right?
By George, I'm Captain Kirk.
Right. So then the next thing that occurs is
wait a minute. Before you go on. There was the scene on the Enterprise when they were getting ready to go aboard the Botany Bay, and they pick their boarding party, which is Kirk,
right?
Kirk and
Bones and Spock.
Yeah, Bones. That's right. Yeah, because he asked Bones, "Are you excited about going on this?" No.
Right.
I came to practice medicine, not study aliens with green blood. I mean, there was some mention of green blood in that episode, which I thought was hilarious because we joke about that. He's got green blood, Jim.
Right.
For God's sakes, he's got green blood. Anyway, so they went, and then there was the female, the what was it, historian officer or something like that.
I don't know. I was like, where'd she come from? Plus, I'm like, she's wearing a red outfit. And I'm like, oh, she's dead. She's wearing
not exactly, but yeah. Red shirt, red means dead.
Red means dead.
Which is funny because in the Next Generation, red was the commanding officers.
Right.
They
switched it around.
Yeah, they did.
And if you were wearing a yellow, you were dead.
Well, unless of course you're in security, because
that is correct.
Worf and what's her name?
Tasha.
Yeah, Tasha. Thank you. They wore, well, even Data wore yellow too.
Yeah.
So anyway, but she was, they brought her because she was some kind of historian or something like that.
Late 20th century historian or something like that.
Right. So she would have knowledge of these people, or some basic knowledge of these people and everything. But I found it funny. So they go there, right? And she's like just eyeing.
Right. I'm like, oh,
con, right?
Yeah.
She's just like, ooh.
Lust at first sight.
and Kirk is getting ticked.
Right.
I have a theory. Kirk's just mad because she's not Googling him.
Right. I agree with you.
He's like, we gotta get rid of this chick. She doesn't like me.
They make a reference to it. I think Bones and her Bones makes a comment. Look,
yes,
they can have their own whatever and stuff like that, or
right.
They can have their own relationships.
There's no protocol on relationships or something to that extent.
That's it. Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So yeah,
I just thought it was funny that. To me, Kirk was like, I was just like, oh, he's just jealous that she's into Khan and not him, because we all know Kirk, he had all the women,
right? Alien or what have you, yeah. Right. Which they do make that fun of that in Galaxy Quest too, by the way. That's pretty hysterical.
I love
Tony Shalhoub's character was pretty funny.
Yep,
and all. Now, I do want to finishing the thing. So anyway, hijinks ensue. He's really a bad guy. He's, this whole thing of they find out, of the eugenics program or whatever to create the superhuman. He's highly intellectual, super intellect, super strong.
Well, we found out we had World War III during the 90s.
Right.
And it was the eugenics war.
So, yes.
That blew my mind too. I was like, "Wow, we had World War III in the 1990s." Boy, I learned a lot about the 1990s in this episode that I never knew.
Hang on, my sound went
out. Uh-oh,
day today. Yeah, there it goes. I'm back now. Sorry about that. No, so, what was the last thing you said?
Yeah, the penguin slid off the iceberg there.
Oh, okay.
I said that I learned a lot about the 1990s in this episode that I didn't know.
Right? World War III. You were saying.
World War III, eugenics war. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they try to take over the Enterprise. Kirk has to come save the day. There's a 1960s fight sequence at the end, kind of a thing. And then he maroons them on SETI Alpha 5.
SETI Alpha 5? I think it's 5.
Yeah, I think it is 5. And so, but what was interesting is the girl goes with him. Kind of a thing. The officer goes,
which is why I said. Well, he tries to take over the Enterprise, and she ends. Well, he kind of seduces her a little bit.
Oh yeah, and he's playing emotional, what we would term today, how would we call that today? He was
Hashtag me
manipulating
too.
her. Yeah, something like that. But I mean, he was totally manipulating her. I mean,
Right.
and it was
Yeah.
scary that the writers knew that back in the 1960s, how they were able to portray that.
Well, you
And
know, they touched on things like that too. So
they did. In all
Yeah.
fairness, they sure did. The Star Trek did hit social issues and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Star
he
Trek was
was
big on social issues. I mean, tackling social issues. In fact, Star Trek had the first interracial kiss on television between
That's
Kirk
right.
and I can never say her name right. Uhura.
Uhura.
Yeah.
Uhura. Yeah. I would say, and I'm probably not even saying it right. But yeah, you're right. They were doing social issues, tackling those. And I thought it was interesting. She went with him, emotional abuse kind of thing. It was kind of interesting. But, and so then we get to Star Trek 2, and I think it alludes to they make a statement in there.
He
and we'll talk
says-
about
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll get to
Yeah,
it.
we'll talk about that. We're just doing the synopsis. Sorry.
Yeah,
so
I want to
then-
cover that. So
Yeah. And so then we come 15 years later. Everyone's getting older. It's kind of a theme of the film, it seems, about being older. And because even at the end, they're like, Kirk's like, "You do okay? I feel young." I'm like, that's kind of hokey, but okay, I'll go with it.
yeah, well,
and,
he's 90 now.
Yeah, something like that. Gosh.
Oh no, not something like that. He's 90 because I saw him on an
Wow.
interview with Adam Carell, and he comes
I gotta-
out.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Is it
You
good?
gotta watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
So
He was a
here's-
lot of
here-
fun.
Was he? Do you remember when we went to Comic-Con and he was there? And remember how we were looking at? I mean, we were there to pick up our picture with Manu Bennett, and because we got our picture taken with him. But we were looking at all the ones that people got with William Shatner, and he had the same goofy smile in every single one of those.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
pretty much has that same goofy smile on the interview with Adam Carell too. I gotta say, I like Bill Shatner. I think he's pretty cool. In fact, he was in two of my all-time favorite Twilight Zone episodes. And he talks about one of the episodes on the Adam Carell interview too. He talks about the one where he's on the plane and he sees the gremlin on the wing of the plane, and he tells a great story because he says that for years after that had aired, his kids, every time he'd get on a plane with his kids would go, "Dad, do it." And he's like, "No," and they're like, "No, do it." And he says he'd stare out the window, and they would call over one of the stewardess, and they're like, "Stewardess, come here. There's something wrong." And then all of a sudden he turns around with the same look that he had in the Twilight Zone episode. There's something on the wing.
I forgot about that. That's so funny.
Oh, it was great. So apparently for years they would do it on planes, and his kids had some kind of scoring system for him too. So, like depending on what the stewardess,
Reaction?
what their flight attendant's reaction was, they would have some kind of point system they would give him. So
That's funny. That's
I thought
pretty
it was
funny.
a fantastic story though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes too. So
So anyway, there's the Reliant is a ship out there on doing scientific stuff like always. Then they're out there, and then Chekhov is with them, and Chekhov they're trying to determine if there's life on this planet. Then lo and behold, they're there. We can go in more details. I'm just trying to do a quick overview, but he finds a buckle, looks at it, and it says Botany Bay.
yes.
And he's like, Botany Bay? Botany Bay? oh no, and then it's like, let's get out of here. And then all of a sudden you see Khan and
Wait a minute, you see who?
Khan.
Khan!
Right. And so hijinks ensue where Khan takes over the Reliant, finds out, trying to figure out what they were doing, why they were doing the Genesis Project, capturing the Genesis Project, and then Kirk and team, with a new I like this, a training crew have to go investigate and what's going on. And then the battles between I took it as superior mind, superior intellect, but experience. I thought that was the great thing about the battles at the end.
Yeah.
And then, and of course, other things happen, but pretty much that's the gist of it. It was a way to get Khan back, and Khan is driven by revenge.
Yes.
And Ricardo Montalban just did a fabulous job.
Oh, he was great. I loved Ricardo Montalban.
So we are 21 minutes in, and so I want to make sure we discuss this, because this is something we talked about as we were talking about, was we were going to answer the question: was that a prosthetic chest plate, or was that truly Ricardo Montalban?
Okay, so we said
I looked
that.
it up.
I did too, and the producer, I think it was, the director. The director had stated in an interview, "Stop asking that."
Yes.
he got ticked at one point and said, "No, that is his real chest." And that was Ricardo Montalban was close to, I think, 60. I think he was in his 60s
at the time.
Wow, and he said that when he showed up and they started getting him ready, they were like, they were really
fit.
Yeah, they were really impressed with his physique. They were like, "Man, you're perfect. This is great." Which, I mean, he's supposed to be playing the perfectly eugenic
human. Yeah, that's right.
The perfect human. So yeah, it fit really well. And I gotta say, in the 60s episode, he was pretty darn fit too. Yeah,
he was fit then. And from what I understand, my research, he's always been exercising. He was always, even when he did Fantasy Island, he was fit.
Right.
They were talking about. So,
well, when I brought that up to my wife, that you had mentioned on our regular episode that we were going to answer the question, is that his real chest? Brenda goes, that's his real chest. Didn't you watch Fantasy Island? And I was just like, I don't really remember too many scenes with his shirt off on Fantasy
I don't remember
Island.
any scenes with his shirt off.
But apparently there was, because she was like, yes, that was his chest.
Right.
I'm like, okay, all right.
There was also someone who shared a behind the scenes photo. It's a black and white photo, but it was him and all of the prosthetics of, that ending scene where he's scarred real bad and burnt and all that. And he's standing there with, everybody. Look, obviously they're discussing the scene and stuff, but you can see his chest really well, and you can tell without a shadow of a doubt that that's him. That is all 100% Montalban. 100% Ricardo.
It's all Ricardo. Yeah, I'm surprised Bill Shatner wasn't like, "Hey, you need to cover that chest up more. You're showing me up, pal."
Yeah, once again,
my name comes first.
Right. Yeah, so yes, it is true that actually is him. I mean, I understand why people are asking. Even I had that question because
I did too.
It looks so smooth in some parts. You're like, oh, that must be prosthetics and stuff. Because his neck, you can tell his neck has aged, but his chest didn't look like it aged.
Oh man, that dude is fit. He was fit. Yeah,
right.
I gotta say he was impressive. He was
impressive. Very much so. Very much so.
I did like in the film also how we start off with the training, and we have Christy Alley. Christy Alley starred in this film too.
Was that her first feature film role? I think it was her first feature film role.
I think you might be right. I think it was her first feature film. I don't. Had she been on Cheers at that time?
I'm not for sure, to be honest.
'Cause,
I
you know,
haven't
Christy
timed
Alley
it.
was
I know. I
she
think
was
this was before Cheers. I think it was
you
before
think it was
Cheers.
before Cheers? Wow.
That's my guess. I don't know. I got to look it
'Cause
up.
that's
See,
where I
we need our Tito.
she took this episode off.
She
Anyway,
sure did.
yeah, she left us high and dry. No, but yeah, Christy Alley played the other Vulcan opposite of Spock,
Mhm,
which is pretty
mhm.
cool. I like that.
It's really
Um,
good. Yeah.
but she's training to be captain, and she goes through. I can never remember the name of the test, the Maraku or what?
Kobayashi Maru.
Oh yeah, Kobayashi Maru. Yeah, where do they
Mhm.
come up with these names, man?
I know, right? Right?
Man,
It's so
Kobayashi
true.
Maru. What were you practicing kung fu when you came up with that? What in the world? Anyway, and we all know that Kirk is the only one who has beat it,
Mhm.
because it's supposed to be unbeatable. There is no solution to it, and
Right.
we all know that Kirk went in and he changed the program so that he
Yeah.
could beat it.
Right.
You know,
And got a
he cheated.
commendation for it.
Yeah, he cheated.
Yeah.
It's the only way he beat it because he cheated.
Right. Is really
But
good. Hey, one other aspect about well, here, you finish your thought. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Finish
that's
your
right.
thought.
I was just gonna say I like that they addressed that they addressed the whole thing, and then
Mhm.
later they kind of revealed how he beat it. You know, I don't know if it had been revealed before, or if that was the first time it was revealed in Star Trek history. I don't.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that whole
I did too.
aspect of that whole thing, taking it. I did find it interesting that it looked like it was a captain's test, but yet Captain Spock said at the end of the film he had never taken it, and he said, "What did he think of his solution
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
of the,
that is interesting.
And I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Now the character Savick, in some of my research, that actually the first actress they had for that they wanted to play that was Kim Cattrall. Um, and
Okay, help
she was
me
in
remember
Sex
her
in the
name.
City, which I've never seen.
No, I've never
What
seen
else
that.
was she in? She was in some other stuff too. But anyway, she comes back later in the Star Trek series as a different Vulcan because I think Kirstie
Oh,
Alley couldn't come back or
okay.
something. There was something going on, and but anyway, they had Kim Cattrall come back, who was originally slated to be Savick,
Gotcha.
but she came back as a different character, a Romulan character, I think,
Okay.
maybe later on. But anyway,
Well,
I
I
thought,
like Christy Alley. I thought she did good in this movie. I really
yeah,
enjoyed her. So,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
thought
I
it's
thought it
fun
was
that
really
she
good.
played Vulcan. So,
Yep, yep. So yeah, it was really good, and the whole issue of the Kobayashi Maru being kind of a theme in it because she was really upset because she didn't do so well, and she's like, "Well, it's unwinnable,"
right.
And here's Bones, you are looking at the only man who beats the Kobayashi Maru,
Maru.
yeah, test, and she's like, "How did you do it?" Well, I reprogrammed it, and then Bones is like, "He cheated."
He cheated. Well, he didn't say he I forget what he said. Yeah, he said it in total Kirk fashion, of course.
Right.
Come up with some
I
elaborate.
changed the snow or something. Yes,
He
very
tried
much
to
so.
make it sound like he didn't cheat, but we all know he cheated.
We all
I'm
know
with
he
Bones. He cheated.
Yeah.
I think Bones is probably my favorite. Well, either Bones or Scotty. I can't do it,
Oh,
Captain. I need
right?
more time. I
Yeah.
don't think we really got that line in this one. I mean, we got the green blood line, but I don't think we got the I can't do it, Captain.
Right. Right. We got the "Hi, Captain." We got
I,
that. You can't deny the laws of physics.
yeah. Oh, come on.
There's so many fun things about all those characters that are really good and stuff. So, I also heard one of the things I heard is that originally, Leonard Nimoy was not going to come back for it. He didn't want to come back. He didn't want to come back. And then when they explained everything to him, because there are some sources that say Leonard Nimoy wanted Spock to die at the end of the film.
Yeah, I think
that's why he came back.
Too.
Yeah, he came back because he wanted that part for the character, because he wasn't going to come back. Of course, then what do they do? Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. It's like, what?
Of course.
Right.
Well, I mean, they alluded to it at the end of this movie anyway, that he wasn't really dead, or, that he was coming back. So, so you're telling me that Leonard Nimoy had a Harrison Ford moment then, because, Harrison Ford wanted George Lucas to kill off Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
I would love to have heard that conversation. George, you really should kill off Han. He just has nothing else to do. Harrison, shut up. Anyway.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Oh well, anyway, he does kill him off, but I thought that's one. It is true. Leonard Nimoy's thought process behind that about killing off the character actually was really good for the movie, because it brought more play into the dynamic between the friendship of Kirk and Spock. It really did, and what a way to go out, kind of a thing. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it gave a real good emotional moment between the two of them. That we probably hadn't really seen in Star Trek before. Yeah, I agree with you. That was actually a great Star Trek moment. His death. So, yeah, nice.
Now, had William Shatner done Booker by this time? Do you remember that cop show he did?
You mean T.J. Hooker? It's Hooker.
T.J.
Hooker. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, he talks about that in the Adam Carolla special too.
Oh, does he?
My dad was a big fan of T.J. Hooker. I didn't care for the show. I think part of it because I was like, oh, that's Kirk from Star Trek.
Right. He was so iconic, right?
As when I was that age, I just didn't like Star Trek at all. So, yeah,
I guess
it was just like, that's Kirk. I don't care. I'm not watching.
I don't care. I guess my thought process was, all these acting gigs that he had in between the TV series of Star Trek to the movies. I thought he did in Star Trek 2. I thought it was really good acting he did about that relationship with the Spock and Kirk, especially at the end. And I was like, okay, it's not just a campy sci-fi, from the 60s. It's kind of legit, fun sci-fi movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy Star Trek 2. Like I said, I think it's the best of the original Star Trek films. Shoot, it rivals some of the new ones actually.
Yep.
Honestly.
Yep. Now, one of the things I heard, maybe you can explain a little bit more on it, is I heard that the first movie, which you call a snore,
that one is
fest,
the official title to that is Star Trek: The Motionless Picture.
Now that budget for that film was what, like $42 million or something like that.
Yeah.
And then then Star Trek 2
was like 15.
That's crazy.
And Star Trek 2 like doubled the profit of Star Trek 1. It's like it's just, the numbers blow my mind. It's like, wow, that just shows you how much better a film Star Trek 2 was.
Right. Well,
and
I
then
guess because its success, that's why they went ahead and made Star Trek 3.
Well, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you?
That was okay. 3 was okay. 4 was better.
Wait a minute. Which one's the one where they come to Earth?
That's 3, I think.
Are you sure?
No.
I thought it was 4.
4 is the undiscovered country, and that's where we come back with the Klingons and the purple blood.
Oh yeah, 4 was Klingons and Christopher Lloyd's in 4. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe 5 is the one where they go to Earth. All I know is the one they go to Earth, I hate. I absolutely that one.
No, that was
terrible.
3. I'm telling you, that was 3. That was Star Trek 3 because they go back in time or something like
Maybe I
that,
hate
don't they?
3 then. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're getting them all confused, everybody. You can comment below and let us know.
Well, we're not Trekkies, so
Right. I did enjoy Next Generation though. That was I
Oh,
did
yeah,
enjoy
I
that
did
series.
too.
I
I
watched
did
most
too.
of that.
I did too. But
Uh,
I'm not a Trekkie.
Yeah. So,
Or a Trekker. I hate that. I remember when that became a thing.
oh
You know,
my goodness,
'cause
right.
if you're an original series fan, you're a Trekkie. If you're a Next Generation fan, you're a Trekker. I'm like, you know what? That just sounds stupid.
It's not stupid. It was
I'm
stupid.
not a Trekkie, but I'd rather be a Trekkie than a Trekker because
Yeah.
Trekker just sounds
That-
stupid.
There is a documentary called Trekkies, and the girl Tasha Yar, I think it kind of hosts it and stuff.
Is that where
Dana Crosby.
is that where William Shatner shows up and tells them all to get a life?
No, that's
Oh,
Saturday Night Live skit. That's a Saturday Night Live skit.
I
That's
know.
good stuff. They do talk about that though. They do bring that up. Which is pretty funny. I would say, anyway, we're talking about why they made Star Trek 3 because of the success, what we view. I mean, if you got the first movie that cost 42 million, and then you got the second movie that cost 15 million, obviously, it was amazing what they were able to repurpose out of the first film to help them with the second film, and then how much money it made still.
Now, I thought one of them, Leonard Nimoy, wouldn't come back unless he got to write one of them.
That I don't know. I don't know.
I
That's
don't know.
interesting.
I can't, maybe I'm confusing the history with Superman because I do know that Christopher Reeves refused to do Superman 4 unless he got to write it, and they should have said no. They should have said, "Fine, we won't make another one."
Right.
4 sucks.
Quest for Peace. The Quest
Yeah.
for Peace. That's right. The whole
Oh,
nuclear arms thing,
horrible.
because that was a big issue that day.
Well,
in the
yeah,
day.
sure it was. I mean, but still, I mean, oh, geez. Yeah, like nuclear issues aren't big today either.
Right. Right. That's true too. Oh my goodness. So okay, so continue on. What are some other the favorite parts of the whole series for you, including Space Theater into Con? What are some other things that you enjoyed?
This is going to sound silly, but there's a scene that I absolutely love. And it's when Kirk is coming down to the I guess engineering. I don't know
He's
what
coming
level.
down to engineering to see Spock because Spock,
Yeah, and he slides down the ladder. I mean, it's just like he's on a ship, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for some reason, every time I see that scene, I'm like, I just love it. I just love him
I do too.
sliding down that ladder.
And here's the thing. It's William Shatner because that's all one take. He's coming down, and when you comes around, there's no cut in the thing. I mean, it is him sliding down, and that's hysterical.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, one of the things I learned about the show was that very aspect of just like being on a ship is the costume designers worked with the writers and stuff because they said we need to make it more like nautical, more ship style stuff. Even the costumes were given a more nautical feel to them because they wanted to give that uniform aspect to it, being on a ship kind of a thing.
Yeah,
And
I think they did a good job at that too.
they did a great job, and I appreciate you bringing that up because that whole aspect of sliding down the ladder, that's total. You got to hurry and get down in a hurry.
And I don't know why I like that scene so much, but for some reason, every time I see it, I'm just like, that looks so cool. It just looks so good. And Steven just froze up. What happened here?
What are you going to do? There we are. Sorry about that, everybody. That was weird. Just all of a sudden. But yeah. So you were saying, I was only gone for 2 seconds. I could still hear you.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't hear you at all. I was just saying that it just sounds to me, it sounds silly that that's a favorite scene of mine, but it just is. I don't know why. I just like it.
Right. Oh my goodness. What are some other we got introduced to? I'll talk about this in a minute, but we did get introduced to the fact that Kirk had a relationship and he has a son.
Yeah, he has a son.
And we get what's her name? What's the girl's name? Dr. Marcus. And
So I don't know a lot about original trilogy.
the original
Main
series.
Ghost of Star Wars, sorry. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know a lot about original series. So was she ever actually in an episode of the original
I
series?
don't know, and maybe some of our Trek
And I
friends out
should
there
have
can
looked
tell
that
us.
up. I should have looked
Mhm.
it up. And the other thing I wanted to know, so we discussed the episode Seed, Space Seed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Space Seed. And the woman that leaves with Khan.
Mhm.
I'm wondering because Khan makes the comment that his wife died. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they got married.
Yes. So originally that actress was supposed to come back. And she ended up getting sick. And
Oh, okay.
I mean, and
Hey, you
I
did some
I
research.
I did. And I think I can't remember now that we're here. I should have made notes. You know me. I just like to watch it and come back to it and talk about it. I think she had passed away.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the way it's written in the story originally, yes, when he says killed my beloved wife, was supposed to reference her.
Okay.
Yes.
See, I wondered that because then
Yes.
didn't get any more reference to it, so I wasn't 100% sure. And
Mhm.
it would have been cool if she could have came back. I wish
From
that.
my understanding, it was in talks to originally have her come back. Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, it's too bad she was sick because I think that
Yeah.
could have added to the story. I would have liked that.
Yeah. And it was gonna be the original actress too.
That would have been great.
I think out of reverence, they decided to just make a reference rather than try to recast.
Recast it. I think that was probably the proper thing to do in this scenario.
Mhm.
Sometimes I don't have an issue with recasting.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think if they would have recasted her, I think some original series fans might have been a little on the idea of it. But then again,
Mhm.
maybe she's just a throwaway character and no one cared either. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Mhm.
Because I am coming out of watching the episode and then immediately turning around and watching the movie. So it was fresh in my mind at the time. And it was 15 years after the episode, that the movie came out. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, that's all right. Yeah. I would say one of the other things I liked was I did enjoy the space battle scenes. I love this chess playing that they did, and of course, I had never heard before in the first big matchup. This whole thing, Spock is like, "You talking about the prefix code?" Yes, prefix code. What's the prefix code? I'm thinking, what is a prefix code? Oh, we can get in there and get their prefix code and take over the ship. I'm like, well, isn't that convenient?
Well, okay. It's kind of like let's go back to the original episode too, when Khan's in sick bay and McCoy is working on him and everything, and he says to McCoy that he wants to read the ship's manuals, and well, he says it to Kirk first, and then he says that Dr. McCoy will
Show
put
you
him
how
on
to use the computer.
how to use the computer so you can access them. And I'm like, don't give that guy the ship's manuals. What the hell's wrong with you people?
I know, right? I thought, this.
I mean, both Kirk and Bones are like, yeah, okay, go ahead,
yeah,
read the ship's manuals.
it's a free society. You can get whatever you want to eat through our transporters and all this kind of stuff. Or, the whole, we give freely. I'm thinking, you guys, I'm surprised you're still alive. You're giving it.
Because then he learned how to take over the whole freaking ship. It's like,
I know,
well, gee,
right?
I wonder how he figured that out, huh?
Right.
Oh, maybe it's because we gave him access to our manuals.
Right.
Idiots! What's wrong with you? The future's stupid.
Oh gosh. Oh goodness. I'm laughing now because of that.
Sorry, I
Oh,
just
my
had to
goodness.
say that.
It's okay. That's okay. I
That's
got it.
funny.
I will say, I do need to say this. Talk about favorite things. As far as villains go, if just across the spectrum of film and movies and TV shows, Khan is probably one of my top 10 villains. He's just fabulous. Now, to be open, I liked him better in the movie than I did the show. The show, granted, he was very arrogant and
He's a
abusive, and
womanizing jerk in this
yeah,
60s TV series.
right.
Yeah,
He absolutely was.
yeah, he was.
And that made a good villain, but he really showed off, I think, in the movie his intellectual prowess playing chess, even though he was driven by revenge. I mean, that's 15 years of
Being on an
being
abandoned
I mean,
planet. Yeah.
right. Yeah, which,
And how did how did the Federation screw up? Because so if the story is they put him on one planet,
SETI Alpha 5.
SETI Alpha 5, and then SETI Alpha 6 is destroyed, and then it
So they thought they were on SETI Alpha 6. If you remember, they were coming in. Oh,
right.
we're going to look at SETI Alpha 6. Again, how did they not remember that? Okay, we're close to SETI Alpha 5 where Khan is. We got to be careful, kind of a thing. And even in the TV show, they made reference to, Kirk made reference, I'd like to come back and see how they're doing. But 15 years later, obviously it didn't. And what do you say, 6 months? Khan said 6 months after they had been marooned there that SETI Alpha 6 exploded. However, that probably would have been a story in its own right. And then shifted everything
Grand Moff
west.
Tarkin blew him up with the Death Star.
Also known as Alderaan.
You may fire when ready.
Right on.
Now the next thing you heard was Khan screaming, "Kirk!" when the whole time he should have been screaming, "Tarkin!" Sorry, I'm crossing screams.
You are. I love it. That brings up a whole nother aspect of it, because it was Khan telling that story to Chekhov. And we find out that Chekhov doesn't join the show until season 2.
Season 2, yeah.
So Chekhov, did he ever really meet?
No. So how the hell Khan know who he was? I know who you are.
I never forget a face.
even ones that I never seen. Right. Yeah, because when Chekhov and I can't think of what the other guy's name is. He's not an original cast member.
No, the other captain. Yeah, the captain of the Reliant. Yeah.
The captain of the Reliant. When they show up, Khan's like, I don't know you, but I know you. And
right.
Yeah, and Chekhov wasn't even in season 1 of Star Trek. So
right.
He never met.
So from my understanding, I did a little bit of research on this, just a little bit. And they wrote, there is a novel. And it's not the novelization of the film, but there was another novel that was written that showed where Chekhov met Khan. That somehow, some way, there was it was written in. So they would have that moment, because I'm sure a lot of the fans, the big hardcore fans, were like, Chekhov didn't come till second season. That's what we do. We like to pick out inconsistencies. Look how smarter I am, kind of a thing, pushing up their glasses. I'm only doing that because was it Brian or Mark that did that in the Three Geeky Dads podcast, and we made reference of it.
Probably Brian, and they were doing the comic book guy reference. Worst episode ever. Chekhov never met Khan.
That's it. That's it.
Worst Star Trek movie ever.
Now wait a minute. So you had us watch kind of some top 10, top 20 things about Star Trek before we came in, because
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Something they brought up in there was really good because they actually talked to Walter Koenig about saying, hey, look at the script. If there's anything we need to change or add or anything. He knew that Khan had not met Chekhov, but he didn't say anything. And I don't blame him because he's like,
Well,
no, I still want the part.
now, wait a minute. I don't think that was. Yeah, the actor wasn't the one. So they had somebody reviewing the script. There were a few things that they found discrepancies of, and then for some reason they passed on that. But the actor himself also knew. He's like, well, wait a minute. I never met him. I ain't saying anything to him because I don't want to lose screen time.
Right.
You know. Otherwise, they're going to give it to Mr. Sulu, and
I scream better than he does.
Right, I scream better than Sulu. All Sulu is going to do is go, "Oh my!" I never forget a face. Oh my!
We just stuck a worm in your ear. No, I was pointing to you. Go ahead, do it.
Oh. Ooh. Oh my!
Oh my!
Sorry, I missed the cue.
Sorry, my bad. Oh gosh!
I'm a podcaster, not an actor.
Right. Oh gosh. Oh, what other interesting tidbits are we missing? The whole casting.
Oh, there was supposed to be a baby in one of the scenes too.
That's right. Well, two scenes when they first come across the Botany Bay, right?
Right. Yeah. Chekhov. Well, first the captain of the Reliant sees the baby, and
when they're looking at the Botany Bay, or they're inside the Botany Bay.
Right, when they're inside, and at first in the scene you see him looking at that little terrarium, whatever, and
right,
you
with
see
that animal and stuff.
Yeah, whatever is crawling around inside there. You don't really see it. You just see the sand moving and stuff, and they're kind of freaking out over that.
Right.
And then that's when Chekhov turns around and he sees the sign that says Botany Bay, and he mentions the Botany Bay. And then when they pan back, you see the captain looking at something else. And according to the script, he was actually supposed to be seeing a baby. Right. And he even had a line because Chekhov's like, we got to get out of here. And he even had a line, and he says, the captain says, what about the baby? So when they decided to remove the baby from the scene, the line changed to what about the baby to what about the tricorder?
Yeah, because they had already filmed it.
Made no sense. It's like, well, who gives two craps about a tricorder? We're about to get killed.
Right.
Khan's coming, pal.
Right. As he remembered. And then at
you
the
can take
end,
your tricorder and stick it where the sun don't shine. I got to get out of here.
Get out of here. I thought it was interesting on the second part too was the second part was at the end, the baby was supposed to crawl up to the Genesis device, right?
Right.
And then and just, I guess, cooing or laughing or whatever, seeing the blinking lights on the Genesis thing. I'll be open with it. I'm glad they took that out.
Oh, I'm not saying that it needed to be in there. I just thought it was an interesting tidbit, and it made for an interesting conversation in the fact that he says the line, what about the tricorder?
Right. Now, wasn't that supposed to be alluded to like Khan's kid or something like that?
Yes, that's what they were alluding to. And maybe because we didn't have the wife aspect, maybe they decided it was better not for him not to have a child.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just my last minute thinking there. I bet that's why they cut the baby out though. And I don't know, I don't think it would have added a lot to the film anyway. So
Mm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Cut
makes
for
for a great,
time.
yeah, it just makes for a great story for, that tricorder line. That's all.
What about the tricorder? You know, it's going to be
We
a
got
new
more
line
on
for
the
us,
ship.
right? Right. We got backups up there.
Who really cares?
Gosh darn it! I got to go back to Station 4 to get more tricorders. Oh my goodness! Well,
If it was Luke Skywalker, it would have been. But I was going to go up to the other level and get some tricorders.
Right.
I'm going to get as many Star Wars references as I can.
You're doing pretty good. You're crossing the streams quite well today.
Thanks.
Well, I will say this. I do agree with you. I do think it is the best movie. And I would say Undiscovered Country is probably next in of the classical ones, because with the Klingons it was really good. But
I like Klingons, so
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so yeah,
they had the forehead things, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because that's a big thing in Star Trek too.
That's right.
Where I love in Next Generation when that's brought up to Worf, and Worf's like, "We don't talk about that. That's a time in our history we don't talk about."
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. But I love the movie. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good to see it a second, or go back to see it again. You know what I mean? It was good to revisit that film. So I really had a good time with it, and I thought it was a great idea. Great idea to talk about this one.
And I would recommend, if you're gonna rewatch Wrath of Khan, to go back and watch Space Seed, because I think it adds to the film. Just some perspective of it that, if you never watched the original Star Trek series, that I didn't have the perspective of watching it originally, and I appreciate it now. So, and I'm not a big fan of the original, so that means a lot if I'm saying,
you find it interesting, right?
Right.
Hey everybody, we're gonna make him a Trekkie yet, or Trekker.
No. You ain't calling me that.
Trust me, I won't.
That's just stupid.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's so funny. All right, man. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We're so glad. We hope you're enjoying this series. And have we decided what classic movie we're going to do next?
I don't remember if we talked about which one I knew we threw out a bunch of.
Oh man, we've got like 20 movies that we've got listed. That
I know. Eventually, I want to do Planet of the Apes, but Planet of the Apes has like 8 movies or something like that.
Oh gosh, we'll probably only get through the first one, and then we'll maybe revisit some of the others.
I definitely want to do the first one for sure.
Yeah.
I like
not the Andy Serkis one. We're talking about the Charlton Heston ones.
Yeah.
Classic sci-fi. Charlton.
No, I do like the Andy Serkis ones. I definitely ain't watching that remake from 2005, whatever that was.
Oh, I didn't realize there was one.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's horrible. It's terrible.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, maybe I should watch both Planet of the Apes and the first one, and then the Andy Serkis one, and then maybe do a comparison.
I don't know. We'll
talk about it. We'll discuss. So everybody, kind of some of the things that we're talking about doing. So anyway, pretty excited about it. So if you enjoy this, or you have some other ones, ideas, comment below. This is on our page, so there's comment section below. Comment about this video or anything else you may like to see us do, because we love to do that. And as we talked about briefly, it sounds like we may end up doing a horror series too as well, for Steven to talk about horror movies he's watching. So
to appease the 3 geeky dads.
right. But I think we also established that I think I've watched more horror movies than I think I have, kind of a thing. So, but really, you were the one who started it with the whole Halloween thing, because you want to do a review of Halloween Kills, and that's where we were like, okay. And then Kelly and I went and kind of actually had a good time.
Oh, evil dies tonight.
Right.
Stop saying that.
Right. Right. Oh my goodness.
If you watch Halloween Kills, you know what I'm
You know
talking
exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. All
about. Or you
right,
can
man. Well,
just
hey.
go back and listen to our review from last October.
Yes. Yes. And it's now on HBO Max, by the way. It just got added yesterday.
Oh, did it? Cool.
Yep.
I may have to rewatch it.
You know. All right. Well, hey, with that, we'll close this out. Mike, thanks so much for the sci-fi discussions and classic sci-fi idea. I have enjoyed these, and hopefully for you as our supporters, we really appreciate you, and these are fun for you as well. So with that, Mike, I'll leave it to you to sign us out.
All right. And I'll change this up just a little bit. So over and out, and live long and prosper.